What's up, everybody? Alan Cortez here. We are live once again. How's everybody doing today? Thanks for joining me. So in this quick training, I wanted to talk about what to do if your gym Facebook ads stop working. And there's a lot of talk, that I hear in the community, the fitness community. Certain offers don't work. Facebook ads is more expensive. There's things that are working, there's things that are not working, and it's just kind of up in the air and everyone's just kind of feeling like it doesn't work anymore. So there is some truth to that in the extent that, over time, more and more competitors do jump onto the platform. So I remember back in the day, I was like 2-3 years ago, you could run Facebook ads in a more saturated community like San Diego for like $15 a day, $20 a day and get really good results. And basically, as more competitors come onto the platform, more and more people end up competing with how much money they're spending on the advertising, and that's why the costs tend to go up. So what ends up happening is it just means that your ads have to be better and better, right? They have to perform better in order to be able to compete. So how do we actually do that? Well, there's a couple things that you want to take into account that you want to remember, right? Number one of those couple things is we have to look at the big picture, right? Like at the end of the day, what are we trying to do? We're trying to convince somebody to take an action on whatever offer that we have, whether it's submit your email information, purchase a Lowberry offer, whatever it is you want them to do. The point of marketing is just to get them to take an action and instill some sort of emotion that makes them and gets them to take a move, right? That's what we're doing ultimately. And at the heart of marketing, fitness marketing, whatever marketing you're doing, you have to understand that people take action based off of emotion, number one. Number two, you have to understand who your ideal client is and create a message for that ideal client and an offer that resonates. And then you combine the two, and that's ultimately what is the foundation of good marketing campaigns. Number one, right? That's super important. Number two, from there, you have to really take into account that once we put that together, we have to look at how the individual parts of a Facebook ad work, right? So first is you have like your initial ideal client market research. So you're focusing on a specific demographic that you're marketing to. That means that when you know those fears, desires, and aspirations of that market, and then you put an offer, combine an offer with it, and you reverse engineer the solution that they're looking for based on the problems that they have, that means that there's a high probability that that ad campaign is going to resonate really well. What I see most fitness professionals do is they kind of just hit like a specific radius or demographic, male and female between a certain age range, 27 all the way to 60. They put it on there and then boom, they just let it fly. And what ends up happening is it's not resonating as much, it's not as effective. Where if you went with women in their 30s and 40s, now it's a lot more specific because there's going to be a general, there's a general trend in problems and solutions that women in their 30s and 40s are looking for example, when it comes to weight loss, right? So aside from doing the market research and understanding who your ideal client is, number two, you have to create an offer, right? An offer that matches with it. And you can do basically one of three that I've seen work. You can go with like a low barrier offer, some sort of free trial, or even a challenge. But the challenge is just don't, copy paste what everybody else is doing and don't say that they're free because people are catching on to those tactics as well, and they're not as effective anymore. And I'll give you an example, right? So I've taken all three of those offers that I just mentioned, the trial, the Lowberry offer, and the challenge, and I've made them work in extremely competitive markets. And what did I do that was different? You have to understand the state of awareness of your target market as well, right, in advertising. So I'll give an example. Let's say 2-3 years ago, I was doing like a free 3-day pass, right, in a local demographic. And from there, what ends up happening is that more gyms start doing the same thing because they see it works. So then if everyone's advertising to that same local demographic, what ends up happening? That local demographic no longer resonates with the same offer anymore, right? Unless you change the message, unless you change the way that the offer is presented. And this is how you basically do that. So instead of saying like, oh, come get a free 3-day pass, or 21 days for $21, or 14 days for $14, what you could say is like 14-day Summer Slim Down. And it's the exact same thing, 14 days for $14, but the way that you're positioning it and the language that you're using, like 14-day summer slim down, tone, tighten, booty, those type of words are gonna resonate with women, right? And it's essentially the same thing, but it just makes it more exciting. So you present a new way of a new version of the same offer, make it exciting, make it catchy, make it appeal to the language of the demographic that you're going after. And what ends up happening, sure enough, people are like, oh my God, this sounds like fun. I want to bring my friend, I want to work on my booty. I want to do this, this, and that. It's the exact same thing, but we're just changing the way that we present it, right? So that's a couple things to remember. And then from there into the third part is targeting, right? Like a lot of times what I see people do is they say, my gym is located in X location. Let me go and put a 10-mile radius around X location. And I think that's gonna work out. Well, just kind of, look at your current member and client database and just figure out like how far do they actually travel to come train with you. These days I feel like most people don't travel too far to go to their gym. They usually like to go work out somewhere they live by or they work next to. So I'll give you another example. Like let's say in central San Diego, there's about 4 different freeways right in the middle that circle around a central part of San Diego. But in that central part of San Diego, people travel north to go to work, where it's kind of all the biotech companies are for the most part. And then they live south because it's the cheaper places to live. So if you're technically marketing somewhere that's central with access to a lot of freeways, you can make that radius a little bit bigger. You can start targeting places that are a little bit farther out because they either are gonna travel through that location to work out or they're gonna come home on their way and work out there. So you just kind of gotta get creative and also just look at the numbers, and you can just usually pull up your CRM and look at where people live, and that gives you a good demographic. And usually it's about like 3 to 5 miles is what I've seen. It's kind of a sweet spot, right? Special occasions you'll go a little bit farther out, 7 miles, 10 miles, but that's super important, the targeting, right? And also the age demographic that you're looking at. So those 3 variables combined really impact and drive whether your Facebook ads are gonna perform or not. But more importantly than that, you got to take into account, how do I actually know what the hell's going on? How do I know if it's working, if it's not working? Ultimately, you just want to look at the numbers, right? And I can go into detail with this, and I do actually in my program, but for now, let's just keep it high level. And you kind of just want to look at a couple metrics, right? You look at the ad set that you publish, you let it run for like 4 to 7 days, and then you look at first what the cost per click is. If the cost per click is really high, like higher than $4, there's probability there that your ads are not resonating with the demographic that you have. And if the ads aren't resonating with the demographic that you have, you want to change first you want to change your images and or video combinations on those ads, because 80% or let's say 70% of somebody stopping to look at your ad is the actual image and the picture, right? So when you use images or pictures, you want to use things that are going to resonate with that specific demographic that you're going after, or are going to help them visualize what they're going to look like, right? So if you're going after women in their 30s and 40s, you might think like, oh, a picture of a girl, of girls looking cute, looking slim, looking sexy, that's not gonna resonate with girls or with the women in the 30s and 40s because they're not the same. But what do they want, right? It's not about what you want, it's about what they want. That's what they want. They maybe wanna feel 5 to 10 years younger before they had kids. Maybe they want to, envision what's possible at your facility with the images that they see, the videos that they see. And then from there, they take action, right? Because they're like, ooh, what's this, right? We're trying to break the patterns because people have an attention span of like 8 seconds, right? Like less than a goldfish. So if you're, advertising, you want to make them stop and say, what's this? And then what do people usually do? What do? You read the headline, right? So that's about 20% of the effectiveness of the headline. If the headline looks good, if this looks interesting, then you keep on reading, right? Then the ad copy is like 10%. So that's usually the numbers. And if your ads aren't, the cost per click for your ads is really high, then it's usually you want to change the images, the headline, or a combination of both and retry again for 4 to 7 days, right? And then from there, if your cost per lead is above like $15, I feel like between $5 and $15 is pretty solid if you can just maintain that consistently. But then sometimes you see people that have a cost per lead that's like $20, $40, $50. Usually what that means is that once people are clicking, and assuming that the cost per click is between $1 to $3 in your ads, once they click, they go to a landing page, right? A page where they get more information on the offer. And for whatever reason, they don't take you up on that offer. So that means that you have to change the variables in the landing page, right? To make it more appealing and to make it easier for someone to click, go to that landing page, and then from there, book, a trial, appointment, whatever it is, however you have it structured and set up, right? What's up, Virgil? What's up, Pancake Poppy Miguel? Good to have you here. So that's one of the high level things that we want to think about, right? So just to kind of recap everything, a couple important things to remember. Do your market research, figure out how far your members come to your facility to train. From there, use compelling images and or video combinations with good headlines. Look at the numbers. And then from there, analyze your landing page and make sure that you are making the conversion of that landing page higher and higher by changing the images on your landing page, the headline, the setup, the structure. Just change that stuff around, right? And when people say, hey, Alan, I just don't think Facebook ads, they just don't work anymore. They don't work like they used to. That's not true because I have students, I have clients that are still getting more memberships, 10 to 30 new memberships every single month using Facebook advertising. The only difference is, sure, if the costs go up, you're gonna spend a little bit more on a daily basis, but cost is subjective to return on investment. So if I paid $50 a lead and I got 10 leads for $500, but 6 of those leads signed up, you're still at profit, right? So you just gotta think of it from a return on investment perspective. With that said, I wanted to talk to you guys about my 6-week training program that is coming up May 1st. The deadline to register is May 1st. And in this training program, we're gonna dive into exactly what we just talked about here, right? Combination of organic and paid advertising methods to generate, 10 to 30 new clients every single month, 3 to 5 new clients per week for your facility. And the approach here is, it's different here, that it's not just like one tactic that we're focusing on. We're basically showing you how to, differentiate yourself in a competitive marketplace. And on top of that, how to really just leverage the organic, non-paid advertising side of things and, generate more memberships that way in combination with the paid advertising side of things. And then when you combine the two, right, you ultimately want like a stacked marketing approach, not just rely on Facebook ads, not just rely on posts or something like that. You want to have a full stack system that generates leads for you on a consistent basis, right? Generates those high quality leads. And then you have a streamlined process for sales. And then from there, you're always focusing on the member experience and retention, right? And the best people that always work well with me are just individuals who are hungry, they're motivated, and they do the work. I don't care what your background is. I don't care how many years you've been in the industry. It doesn't matter if you're brand new or you're a 30-year veteran. The mindset and the willingness to show up and do the work is ultimately what's going to get you results. Because it ain't my first rodeo. I've been doing this for more than 3 years now. I've had students start making $3,000 a month, and in 3 to 4 months they're consistently hitting $8,000 to $9,000 per month bunts on a reoccurring basis, right? They're getting those EFTs. I had a student of mine, Charlie, spent like $400 on advertising and made $8,000 cash on the front end, not even including the membership side of things, right? So if you're interested in learning more, what we can do here is you can just direct message me. There are only 10 spots available right now. 2 of those 10 spots actually are already filled up. And then from there, tell me a little bit more about what you're currently doing with the Facebook advertising side of things, right? What's working from you, what's not working, go ahead and drop it in the comments and DM me for more information on the 6-week mentorship program. Would love to tell you a little bit more and just see if it's a good fit. All right, everybody, thank you and take care.